Welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm Watu-K99. Thank you as always for taking the time to watch these videos. So this is our third NHL preview video. We've done a preview on the Islanders, we did a preview on the Devils, but we're going to get a little bit more granular here with the New York Rangers and talk about how things have changed over this offseason, what can be projected going forward. A couple questions to ask about this team, and I'm going to give you my season projection for the Broadway Blue Shirts. So last year with Peter Laviolette, they were getting used to a new head coach, and as usual, Peter Laviolette made a very strong first impression as the Rangers wound up with the best record in the regular season, made it to the Eastern Conference Final for the second time in 3 years. They know what they can do. They know what they're capable of, but somehow they have to find a way to get 6 more wins in the playoffs. It feels like it's been that way for 15 years, one more river to cross. Now, the offseason, it has not been what a lot of Rangers fans were hoping for. The vibe is just incredibly negative on social media, just about anywhere you go. Rangers fans just have... You would think that they root for the Columbus Blue Jackets. They're so negative. It's actually kind of sad. I get, a lot of people wanted certain players moved, and that didn't happen. Kako, still here. Jacobtrouba, still here. A lot of people wanted the captain traded, which is quite interesting. And the plan was to trade him. I believe he was going to go to Detroit on July 1st, because at that point, his no-trade clause became a 15-team no-trade clause. A lot of teams are interested in Trouba, but Trouba had no interest in moving. Family issues. And so he remains with the Rangers, I believe, for 1 more year. Now, the thing is, Trouba is a respected captain by his teammates, and that's all I really care about. Okay, he plays a physical style for a team that is not physical enough. Other moves were, there wasn't a whole heck of a lot else. Eric Gustafsson left for free agency on defense. Barclay Goodrow was claimed by San Jose. And you added Sam Carrick in free agency as a depth center and traded for reillysmith from Pittsburgh. So it's a lot of the same characters, and of course you have a couple of injuries. Ryanlindgren and Jimmy Vesey are both out week to week. All right, so here's a couple of questions that the Rangers will need to answer over the course of the season. First of all, can mikazibanejad bounce back in 5-on-5 play? Now, he is under fire from Rangers fans, especially after Alexander Barkov just schooled him in that series against the Panthers last year. But he's still an elite power play producer. He's in the top 5 in the league in power play goals per 60 minutes over the last 4 years. Here's the problem. Zibanejad averaged 1 5-on-5 goal for every 10 games he played last year. That is the worst that he has had in his 8 years. Okay? So 12 even strength goals, it's just not going to work. And it got worse in the playoffs when he scored once on 5-on-5 in 16 games. So even though the points look very solid, second on the team in 16 points is nothing to be disappointed at. Of those 16 points, 11 were on special teams. So he has to get better there, especially with 6 more years on his contract. Number 2, it relates to Mikazibanejad. Who's going to play that top right wing next to Zibanejad and chriskreider? Well, reillysmith was acquired from Pittsburgh for 2 draft picks, and he is going to get the first opportunity. Smith has 6 seasons of 50 points or more on his resume, including 22-23 when he played for Vegas, and he was a top 6 winger. That Vegas team went on to win the Stanley Cup. But he's 33 years old now, and he came off a very subpar season with Pittsburgh, so the Rangers were able to get him for not much. The early games seem to be pretty encouraging with shots attempted, shots on goal, possession of the puck, things of that nature. Haven't scored a goal, but they look pretty good together. Unfortunately, Kako has never quite worked out there. That would have been the ideal solution. I thought maybe you could put filipchytil in that spot on right wing as sort of your emergency break the glass option. But clearly management wants Chytil to be a center. They want him as that third line center. That's what they've deemed appropriate. Personally, I'd like Chytil on the wing, and then you could have a little bit more of a checking center on your third line so that Zibanejad doesn't have to bang his body every night against the other team's best player. But that's the way that they're choosing to do it. So hopefully reillysmith does the job. And with filipchytil, this is question number 3. He's looked quite good in the preseason, but he does have 4 documented concussions, including the one last season that limited him to just 10 regular season games and 6 playoff contests. And with vincenttrochek emerging as an excellent second-line center, Chytil is now looking at that third center role with Will Cooley and Kaapo Kakko. But there's no doubt, Chytil is a difference maker. He has noticeable speed. He's very good with zone entries, with those quick transitions out of the defensive zone into the offensive zone. He's not only Rangers very well, but in his first three games played in the preseason, 4 points, 2 goals, 2 assists. Plus, he'd won 56% of his faceoffs. That had long been an area of weakness in the game of filipchytil. Things are looking very promising as far as that goes. But gosh, it just feels so fragile with him. And that's probably never going to change for his career. So a healthy Chytil is vital. On to the defense. Number 4, Zacjones. What is he going to be? Gustafsson walked away in free agency. Rangers declined to sign a replacement, so they felt it was time for the University of Massachusetts product to get an opportunity with the big league roster. Well, he's 23 years old, and he did play pretty well in a limited role last season. Now, he does have very good puck-moving skills, and again, this is another player who can maybe help with those zone breakouts. He's got quick feet, he's very mobile, not big, 5'10", about 180 pounds or so, so you have to have a little bit of concern about his size and his strength and defending close to the goal area. And then, who does Kandremiller play with? Now, jacobtrouba is his usual partner, but he is 99% gone after this season. Maybe it's going to be Bradenschneider. All right, but which I would like to see very much. I like the idea of Zacjones and jacobtrouba, the youngster and the veteran in that role. But Kandremiller is a very polarizing Ranger, one of the most polarizing on this roster. He's played almost 300 career games, and there's still questions about his ceiling and his consistency. It's another year where Miller needs to learn, grow, morph into the player. He is up for a contract after this season, and this year will go a whole long way to determine what kind of a deal it could potentially be. And as far as Bradenschneider goes, I have a good deal of confidence in him. Not that he's ever going to be this great offensive defenseman, but he really flourished in that top 4 role last season. I thought him and Miller together was very, very effective, and they continue to get better and better. Now, I do want to mention a couple of other things that are going to be worth observing over the year. Can Panarin, Trocheck, and Lafreniere maintain what they did last season? Last year, Artemi Panarin scored 49 goals and 120 points, career highs for him. His expectations are higher than ever. We just hope he's ready to go opening night since he has a lower body injury. This injury luck is starting to worry me here. I don't know how Trocheck is going to follow up from last season. He had 77 points. That was a career high last year, and he got even better in the playoffs. He was the most trusted center the Rangers had to offer through the playoffs last year. With Lafreniere, wow, he finally came into his own. 28 goals, 29 assists in his first full 82-game season, plus 14 points in 16 playoff games. And here's the crazy thing. Lafreniere barely gets any power play opportunities. I think it's time for that to change this season. I don't think he's playing on that top role, that top 5, but I think in the second unit, Lafreniere is going to be the go-to goal scorer. With the youth, I don't see a lot of space on this roster for a rookie, at least until these injuries started to happen. So if you look at the forwards, you've got Mika, Kreider, reillysmith, Trocheck, Lafreniere, Panarin, Kakko, Chytil, Cooley. That's your top 9. Add Sam Carrick, who they signed as to be their Barclay Goodrow replacement, that sort of checking center. That's 10. Jimmy VC would be 11, but right now it looks like he's going to be on the roster. It doesn't look like this is a long-term injury situation as of yet. If that was the case, it would open up a roster spot, but VC would have to miss at least 10 games and 24 days. Okay, so that's a decision that they've got to make. But after that, you've got mattrempe, Johnny Brodzinski, who has a contract, along with Brennan Hoffman, who's actually just sent to the minors, and Adamedstrom. So I think those 4 players are all in a battle. Well, now it's Rempe, Brodzinski, and Edstrom. They're really in a battle for those 2 spots. Now, I think Rempe would have the edge, but Edstrom, I think, has been maybe the breakout player of training camp. He played very well in the rookie games against Philadelphia. He has scored quite a few goals in the exhibition games. I believe he scored 3 in the 2 prospect games against Philly and 3 more goals in the exhibition games as well. He's got the speed to chase down loose pucks. He's got a good presence in front of the net, sort of like that chriskreider sort of clone. And he's a big guy too. Gives you great size. And he can play defense too. Very, very smart defense. If you have a 4th line built around Edstrom and Rempe, that would be fun. I just don't know if the Rangers are willing to scratch. When VC comes back, I don't know if they're going to scratch VC. I really believe, though, that Carrick will be the center on that line. And I don't know if they're going to send Brodzinski back down to the minors again. I could see them playing Rempe or Edstrom. I don't know about both. Now, on defense, Victor Mancini, where did this guy come from? Even a year ago, he wasn't even a top 10 prospect in the Rangers system. He was drafted in 2022 in the 5th round as a defensive defenseman. And at this time last year, he was entering his junior season with, get this, the University of Omaha, Nebraska, one of the great hockey programs in Omaha. I don't know. Now, his defensive ability, that was always evident. He's an aggressive player. He knows how to take the puck away from the offense. But he's looked very promising playing that role of an offensive defenseman as well. He was never even used on the power play in college, but he's posted a couple of points in the preseason games, and he looks confident joining the rush. So with Ryan Lindgren out for a few weeks, could he force his way in? It's not impossible. I thought Matthew Robertson might have a chance, but he was just sent down to Hartford over the weekend. And then to goalie. Hey, you know what? You have one of the best 1-2 combinations in the game, but Igorshesterkin is a free agent after this season. And I think this is why the Rangers didn't go all in the offseason, and why they have they're projected to have about $6 million in cap space by the trade deadline. The Rangers knew they would have to reserve the money to sign him. If a deal is not reached by opening night, the expectation is there will be no negotiations during the season. Now, the Bruins just signed their goalie, Jeremy Swayman, to an 8-year, $8.25 annual value contract. I don't think that's going to affect Igor at all. He is looking for well north of that. He's looking for at least $10.5 million a year past that, since $10.5 is the current salary for the highest paid goalie in the game, that being Andrei Vasilevsky of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, as far as the cap space goes, this is the last thing I want to mention here. The Rangers are an excellent regular season team. And the fact that they didn't have, going back to what I just said, the fact they didn't do as much as they could have during the offseason is going to give them more opportunities to adjust the roster as the year goes forward. They're projected to have over $6 million by the trade deadline, which will be March 7th of 2025. So what we see now is not what we're going to see in the playoffs. Now, this core won the President's Trophy last year. They can hold the fort down. I don't care about having home ice. It doesn't really matter all that much. You just got to get in the tournament and get hot. But the roster as it is, is not winning a Stanley Cup. So this is a deadline Chris Drury has to ace. I don't want to be selling for the Alex Wenbergs and the Jack Rosloviches anymore. I'm not even asking for the Jay Gensels, but find the right players. Those battle-tested warriors who can push this team over the limit and will make the Rangers that much harder to play against. As far as a finish for the Rangers, I think they will finish 3rd in the Metro. I think the injury luck is not looking too good for them right now. I think New Jersey wins the division. I think Carolina is going to be kind of right there with them. Carolina just edging them out. I've got the Rangers finishing 3rd, and I'm going to put them in I think they're going to get eliminated in the 2nd round. We'll see what winds up happening. I have decent expectations, but I don't know. As of right now, it's a little bit hard to imagine this core doing what we want them to do and going all the way. Everybody, thanks so much for watching. Also, check out the little videos I did on the Islanders and the Devils as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you right back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair.